So, in some of the bigger NBA news, not really NBA, I guess it's NCAA. It's both. It's both news.
It's
It's
both.
it's basketball news. Bronny James has officially announced that he is heading to the NBA draft to I mean, his rankings have not been very good throughout the year. Um
It's
I don't even know how to sell this really. It's really an interesting thing because we were even talking about it before the podcast here. I was gonna go into this like here's the behind the scenes in Simon's brain when going into the intro here. I'm like, what can I say to really sell this segment? And in my head I was thinking to myself, you gotta talk about Bronny, you gotta hype up the prospect. And then I thought about it, I was like, yeah, no, I'm drawing a blank. Like, there's not a
yeah,
lot as for the prospect. It's the fact that
nepotism points.
everyone knows LeBron wants to play with him. You're drafting LeBron James's final dance or last dance. Like,
Yeah,
and I think people will be, especially people who know LeBron would want to play there. So your New York Knicks, Miami Heat, Lakers, if he goes to the Lakers. Like, there are teams out there that will definitely. There's no way on earth this kid goes undrafted. Just to say that. Throw that
oh
out there.
wow. Okay, you want to get into that right away? I
Is
think
it.
he absolutely goes undrafted.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Like look at
Okay, I'll let you
look at
go
his,
first then.
yeah, okay. So I mean,
I think your
like,
take's a bit
I
more interesting than mine.
really, I thought this was like the baseline take. I didn't think that was spicy at all, because first of all, like, so Bronny, I think if you look at because there's so many things with this. First of all, he's not just entering the NBA draft; he's also entering the transfer portal. Like,
Yeah,
he's doing both. I think what he's
which
doing
is a
is
smart choice.
I think it is too, because he's like, I think what he's doing is he's gauging interest from NBA teams to be like, will I get drafted? And I think if the answer is no, then he'll return to college. I
Yeah.
think that's what it is. Um, and I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think any NBA teams are going to be interested in
You don't
him.
think the Lakers take him
Um,
in the second round?
no, because I mean, again, this is the one difference with basketball, is that there is two rounds, and some of
And
the
most
like,
of the second round players don't even make the roster.
yeah, and even those second round players have been players who have been like very good in college. So I'm looking at this is that take people who are watching this take with a grain of salt that I am the most casual both NBA and NCAA basketball fan.
Yeah.
I watch March Madness and that's about it. But like, there's been players who I was like, I'm looking up, like Zach Edey, who recently has won Player of the Year in college 2 years in a row. But because there's conversations about like his style of play not working in the NBA, most people projected him as a second round pick, even though he basically just carried his team to the national championship game. That guy is probably going in the second round, and like you said, may not even make the roster,
Yeah.
right? Like, so there's that where you can literally be the best player in college basketball, and get drafted in the second round and still not have a
Oh,
great chance to
I
make the
just thought
roster.
about it. No,
And
Zach
then
Edey's not going in the second round.
you think he's going in the first round?
He's probably going like 15, like 15th area.
So I've seen him.
Like,
I think the March Madness boosted him. But if you look
yes.
at popular mock drafts, he was going in the second round up until like this month, and now he's going late 20s, is
Yeah.
what I saw.
Yeah. I saw the
So
estimate. I was getting.
even then
I
he's
was
like
hearing.
a borderline first round.
I was gonna say I
Borderline.
was hearing him as high as like 11th. I think that's the highest I heard him, but that's unlikely.
That's, as someone who doesn't really know basketball, even then I feel like, from what I've seen from people who know more about the sport than I do, that's not going to happen. That's not how NBA teams view it. The other thing to take into consideration in the NBA draft is it's not like the NFL, where the only players who are coming into the NFL are coming in from college.
Yes, that's
And
true.
players from, most often, the best players that you get in, like Alexandre Sarr, I think is the number one projected pick, and he, I think, is from France. And Wemby
But
was from
that's
France.
not.
Or no, that guy was from Australia, actually. The new guy. Wemby's from France.
Yeah.
Like Luca coming in. All of these players are coming in international. That fills up a bunch of spots on the board too, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's why I think Bronny's gonna go undrafted, to bring it back to the main point, because there's so many good players from not just college, or even the best college players might not get drafted. And Bronny was a bench player in college who didn't even do that much. And this isn't to bash Bronny, because I've been of the opinion that if you have heart failure and then come back to play the same season, maybe you should be cut a little bit of slack.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that the fact that he's entering the NBA draft is a little bit of bad optics in that way, for him, because it kind of, I do think it's still a smart move, but I can see also how it comes off as, I'm LeBron James's son, I could just get into the NBA based on that alone. Because if he gets drafted, that's the only reason he gets drafted. And I don't
Oh,
think even
absolutely.
that is enough. I don't even think that is enough.
Well,
Like, are you gonna waste one of your two, because the NBA draft is only two
you're
rounds too.
you're
You're gonna
making
waste
him
one of your picks
sound
on
you're
that?
making him sound like he can't do anything on the court, which isn't true. The one thing he did
No,
show in
it's not. It's
college.
not.
Yeah, no,
It's
and I
not.
know
Because it's
that's
such a
not the
project, and
reason.
you have no idea.
Yes. That's not the point you're trying to make. I'm just trying to jump on this here. But like
Yeah.
it's the big thing that I've noticed people point out is the fact that he's actually very strangely, just because of the fact that he hasn't had any hype, or like as an actual player, I should say, or he hasn't had a lot. Like it actually feels like he's been underrated a little bit. He is actually a very skilled defender, is what the conversation a lot of
Yeah,
people
I
have
think
had.
yes.
He is a very
I think
skilled defender,
his shooting is the part that's an issue. I think
which is
that issues
something
with shooting.
which is something that he did not show at all before the college game, and which again could be because this season maybe should be a write-off for him a little bit. Like you said, give the kid a little bit of slack. Like he very much he went through a lot in the last little bit, and even being able to get back to the court, I should say a lot about just his, I don't like just he's had a long year, I think, is kind of the sense that a lot of people have had. And I have no doubt that he'd have a better sophomore year, but it's I think he does get drafted. I think he'll
Yeah.
I just think
I don't
about it
think
like
so.
this, Caleb, like the Lakers, I could see the Lakers taking a second round pick on him. I think just to keep big ol' GM LeBron James happy, I could see the Lakers taking him in the second round.
For 1 year?
Yes.
For 1 year
Yes.
of LeBron.
Yes. Because Caleb,
I don't even think NBA
as
teams
much
are
as you want to say, like, well, it's one roster spot. There's a lot of players on NBA rosters who don't play at all.
Yeah, I'm not. It's not the roster spot. It's the pick, and I know it's a second round pick, but like in the NBA draft, there's only 2 rounds. It's still wasting draft
Sure.
capital.
But you're using that second round pick to keep your star player happy. You're bringing on a player who, as much as everybody has again basically wrote him off, he still has potential. Like he's still a player who could turn into a
Yeah.
good player.
And I'm not saying that he isn't, but I'm saying at this point he's such a project that like I don't know. I don't think it'll be good for his career either.
Probably
Because
not.
then at that point the only reason he'd be going is to play with his dad.
Yeah.
And like I just don't see how like he actually gets developed at that point. He's just gonna get run over.
I'm just saying that what I think well I think there's a difference between what's good for him and what's I think
will
is going to
you
happen.
think?
Yeah. I think if there wasn't a world where we see LeBron or Bronny playing in the NBA, maybe not playing, maybe riding the bench in the NBA next season, then he wouldn't have basically put his name in the hat at all. Is more what I mean. I think that there is absolutely at least a bit of interest at the very least in the second round. Will a team use a first round pick on him? No way in hell. But will the Lakers potentially use a late second round pick on him just to bring him onto the team? I can't see why not. Like I have a hard reason really seeing like why it'd be better to bring on a player who you're probably going to cut anyway than bring on your star player's kid. Like at that point you're signing him to make him happy for one. And also it's just a thing of like
It's a pure nepotism thing.
yes, no, Caleb, but the thing is I'm not trying to argue against that. I'm saying that there has
You're
been
arguing that that's how the world works.
yes, pretty much.
I think my point is just like yes, I think that is how the world works. I agree with you.
Yeah.
There's a certain point where I think even nepotism doesn't carry that far. It's just like I don't know. He's a bench player in college, and I'm not saying that he can't be anything good. I'm saying that this is exactly the reason why you stick it out in college for at least one more year
Yeah.
to put some
No,
production
I'm
up on the
saying if
board.
we were,
To go to a
it's
team that actually wants you.
there is a difference between what I think he should do, because if we're talking about what Bronny should do, yes,
Yeah.
stay in college, work on your game, work on your shot, develop that like range that we saw from you in high school, become a bit more of an offensive player, because really all he needs is an offensive weapon, and he's there. I think, like if he brings his averages up and he starts to work on his ability to shoot, I think he's got enough, right? Like if he can, he'd he'd be showing that he doesn't necessarily have the potential to be that top level talent that a lot of people might be thinking he might have for his last name, but he'd be good enough to make the NBA because he is a strong defensive player who can shoot. And there is a place for players like that, right? And I think that he'd be coming in, if he came in this year, it would be basically just as a defensive first player who hopefully has some time to work on his shot in the back end somewhere, right? Like, you just have to hope.
You almost compare this to, you know what's a good comparison for this? I think,
What?
um, in terms of another very good basketball player who keeps a family member on the you keep a family member on the roster to keep him happy.
Giannis.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
It's the Giannis stuff that makes me pretty sure that something like this will probably end up happening. Like, because I mean,
That's the precedent you point to.
yeah, hasn't really hurt the Bucks too much, has it?
No, although they're not doing very well right now. But
Yeah, but I just mean they won a championship with him on the roster. Like, they're not doing bad because he's on the team.
I'm not saying that like having Bronny on a roster is going to hurt them. I think we both agree that it's not good for him. I think in terms of like what a team will actually do, I just don't see the value there for a team, because I also don't think 40-year-old LeBron, like maybe if you're getting like prime like Miami Heat LeBron, then it's like absolutely spend a pick on this kid just to get that.
Oh my god!
Like at that point,
Caleb,
probably
you're
spending
basically
first
trading
pick.
a second-round pick for 1 year of LeBron. There's no
For 1
way
year,
on earth no one's not willing to do that. Every team
I don't
on
know.
the
I don't
planet
know.
would be up for doing that. It's LeBron James. I don't care if he's 5 years old. Like, I don't care if he's 5, I don't care if he's 50, it don't matter. Like, it's LeBron, right? It's
Okay. That, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Like you make good points. The other thing that I think is important to bring up. Now, I'm not saying a trade like, let's say Bronny gets drafted. Obviously, the move is going to be then, is LeBron going there? And the answer probably will be yes. But I think the issue, again, this is going completely off memory based on when we last kind of talked about this, but I'm pretty sure LeBron has one more year left on his Lakers deal. I may need to be fact checked on that.
I can check that. Yeah.
But I think when we were looking at that, it kind of lined up well, where LeBron would play this upcoming season with the Lakers, and then after that his contract would be up, and that's when Bronny was going to enter the league. Now that Bronny is potentially entering the league a year early, you say they're basically trading a second-round pick for a year of LeBron. Well, what are you going to have to trade in addition to that now?
That's a fair point. But I more just mean, like, let's say that's why I'm saying that I think the most likely team to take him is probably the Lakers.
Just to keep LeBron?
Just to keep LeBron. Or even just to keep him happy. Like, just to go, like, sure, why not, type thing. I mean, it'll be LeBron's age 40 season. Like, he will be 40 years old
he will be 40
during
years old.
that season. So it's... I think that... if anything, it might just be the type of thing where the Lakers might just do it as, like, give LeBron his last run into the sunset moment type thing. Playing alongside his son, who will play 2 minutes a night.
Yeah. Do you think... a couple points. Because I do think yes, that is, like, I could see it happening a little bit more, but I still don't think he gets drafted. And I think a couple of points to that side of it. The Giannis comparison. It's not like, I don't even know how to say his brother. Thanasis.
Thanasis, yep.
He did not get drafted, right? He's brought in as a free agent,
okay.
I believe. That's something I could probably also.
I will
check.
say that I think Bronny has a bit more hype behind him than Nasus did.
Yes, yes, obviously. But just to make that comparison at
Yeah.
least. And then also, I do think NBA GMs have a bit more pride in their scouting than to just say, fuck it, we do this for LeBron. Unless I'm off, but you have an entire scouting department. And it's
You
like,
also have an entire lead GM. Do you think LeBron's that prideful of his scouting department?
I know that's the joke, but I mean, like, I don't know.
It's a joke, but it's also the truth.
I don't know. I don't know because again, I don't know the NBA as well. But like, you look at the upcoming NFL draft, it's like people prepare in months and months. Like the scouts, like you have a huge scouting department that is working like years in advance on these prospects. Do you really want to like throw all that work out if they've got a guy they actually really want in the second because they want to pick LeBron's kid? Like that just throws out all the work the scouts have done.
Or do you think that the Lakers have probably thought for the last year that there's a good chance they're using that second on LeBron's kid?
I don't think so because it was a surprise that he's coming out this year anyways.
Yes.
I don't know.
It was a surprise, but I don't know if I mean, they do have a bit of an insider. That's all I'm saying.
I guess.
The insider who lives in the same house as him, right? Like, it's...
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think, well, the one other thing I was going to say to that point was, if this were a draft, like any other sport, where there's, like, 7 rounds, absolutely Bronny gets drafted. Where it's the kind of thing where it's like, throw away a 5th, throw away a 6th. I don't care.
That's okay, but Caleb, a second-round pick in the NBA is pretty much the same as a 5th or a 6th in other leagues.
I guess, and I guess maybe that's where my blind spot is.
Yeah,
but
because I would say in the NBA when I'm talking about the draft, I almost would say the end of the first round in the NBA is more comparative to like what you'd see like
day 2 NFL draft.
Exactly. Where in the NFL, you can get very skilled players in the 2nd and 3rd round, while towards the end of the 1st and even into the 20s, usually you can still get good players, don't get me wrong, but it falls off pretty quick. So I think that in that sense, let's say the Lakers go deep in the playoffs, like, or deep-ish, right? And we're living in the world where they have like the 50th pick, right? Like something like that. I don't think it's that far off to think that they might use it on LeBron's kid. I don't know. I could definitely see it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess so, and that is a good point. I'd be very interested, just because again, a very casual basketball fan, but I'm still gonna stick to my belief that he's not getting drafted, because of all the reasons I've brought up before. But I also do like looking at mock drafts from people who know more than me. I don't think I've ever seen him mocked to go drafted.
Oh, I don't think he'll go first round. I don't think he's a good enough talent. Talent-wise?
In general.
Okay.
I don't think I haven't seen him mocked anywhere. Like first or second round.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm way off then. Who knows? I just mean, in my personal opinion, I think that there's a world where that ends up happening.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll definitely it'll be really interesting. What is that coming up in June? June probably is when all these NHL. Yep.
I think so.
We're closing in on you know what that's crazy is having our draft conversations last year coming in on a year of trick play. Wild.
Oh, we're not that close. It's got to be like 4 months off. We started it in like July, didn't we?
Did we?
I think
so.
Well,
we were having conversations with the draft, so, and I feel like that's not
weren't we having post-draft conversations though?
I think it was like during the draft. Do you have it?
I'm looking for it right now. I think I totally just like played like the intro of one of the episodes. 9 months, so 3 months. 3 months off.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Coming to play.
We gotta come up with something for 1 year trick play. Also, happy 69 subscribers. I think that's something worth celebrating.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. That is a number worth celebrating.
That
Nice.
is a worth. Yeah, nice. Hell yeah. Make sure to not subscribe.
Yeah.
Don't
we're
you
good
dare
where we are.
ruin it.
We're good where we are. We don't need.
It was funny though, with like because we went up by like 3 or 4 throughout the week as like the videos like went up in views, and then we just stuck at 69 for like 4 days.
We're still at 6.
We are no, we are. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's been like 4 days of sitting it there, so I'm like, you know what? I'm not even mad about it.
It's a nice looking number.
It's a nice looking number. I'm okay with that.